Hello, I'm Brigantia, Blackbird of Blackbird's Brew. Happy Monday and welcome to Local Pagan. I have a variety of thoughts to share with you this week. And as I was pondering what it was I wanted to discuss, I kept thinking about the ups and the downs of the natural world around me. It's very common in Missouri at this time of year, especially for the temperatures and the weather just to be all over the place. And that is the pattern that I find myself in the midst of. We have the rhythm of the rising and the falling, the hot and the cool, and everything in between. It feels as though I'm watching the wheel itself gather enough energy together to be able to turn once again, as indeed it is about to do for the equinox. When we get these little mini heat waves, it's providing that last-ditch effort for the veggies and the fruits in our gardens to finish up and ripen so we can harvest them. And then the days when that heat subsides, the air is refreshing, it's even brisk, the windows can be opened to let the air flow freely around the house, and the sense of relief I get from all of this is pretty profound. It's a time of the in-between. All things that are in between are inherently magical, and the change of the atmosphere that most people feel at this time of year isn't merely a psychological phenomenon. The energy is shifting, and that process of it being in motion is it's tantalizing. It's a time of great power. It's not something you can ignore or be indifferent to. And when I go outside, I've noticed that the energy is definitely louder this week than it has been in previous weeks. It's much easier for me to tune in, and everything just feels like this push to get busy, tie up loose ends, and get ready for the next phase. And the current Mercury retrograde is also making itself felt, and it's not exactly cooperating with this need to get busy. But as Sigrun, who's does the channel The Pagan Prepper and Universal Pagan Temple, she has shared this on the Gilded group. This particular retrograde is beginning in an air sign, a cardinal air sign at that. It's in Libra. So while we understand in general that Mercury retrograde tends to make communication, technology, traveling just go all haywire. But the fact that it's beginning in the sign of Libra this particular cycle, it just adds another layer to the mess. And so far, I have been feeling this imbalance in my schedule. The unexpected keeps cropping up. Things are taking longer than usual. The writing process is definitely taking longer than usual. And the other day, I actually recorded a video, and for whatever reason, the editing program decided that it didn't like it, and so I had to redo the entire thing again. I mean, no apparent reason. I wasn't doing anything differently. The settings hadn't changed. I didn't have a new piece of equipment. It just, went poof, and that's the way that it went. And in past retrogrades, I thought the solution when this kind of thing tended to happen was just to stubbornly plod along, stick to the plan, and just, go through it. This time around, I have decided that I need to be a bit more flexible. So instead of really worrying and getting all hyped up over any kind of delays or do-overs, I'm just breathing, taking it and saying, okay, this is what has happened. Just move on. I've observed that my husband has been having a few hiccups at his work. Now the equipment where he works can always be relied upon to throw its little fits, even on a good day. But during Mercury retrograde, those fits turn into full-on tantrums, and this time round is just no exception. So because of this, I've been asking myself, what do I need to be doing over the next couple of weeks? And so I keep coming back to this idea of I need to choose to react more slowly, create more calm, perhaps be a little more passive, and realize that I can't fight against the tide. I can't overcome the tide. It is affecting everything, and it's going to come in. It's going to do what it does. But I can create an oasis during the storm. Now, for my husband, to make things easier on him, I'm going out of my way to cook more of his favorites for dinner, taking extra time to listen about his day, and making sure he has enough time to decompress with his video games. I admit, I do not understand the appeal of video games, but it soothes him, so that's what matters, and I'm going with it. And I'm also trying to keep a better lid on anything that might happen to be bothering me at any given time. I know I can really stress him out, especially when I see what's going on in the world and I'm in full on freak out mode. And of course, with my sun being in Leo and my moon being in Scorpio, believe me when I say that I can get a little obsessive and I can get a little frantic when things are bothering me. So I'm trying my best not to let that spill out onto him. Now, for my own spiritual practice, I am meditating more, I am relaxing more, and I'm learning to let go of the idea that I need to constantly be in control. Loki has done a great deal to actually break me of that in the past year, but this is a chance for me to demonstrate through my actions that I actually have made progress, and I'm no longer trying to control the things that are not actually within my purview. And as for the wider world, I'm trying not to take anything that's going on or has been said at face value right now. We're on really uncertain ground. It's frustrating. But once the retrograde is over, things will solidify. We'll have a much better idea of where things are actually at. So I don't want to give too much of my energy fretting about what's happening now because it could be more mirage than reality. So wait and see, as difficult as that is. Now, also looking around me, because if you'll remember the first video in this series, I was talking about things I could expect to see in the month of September, at least according to the conservation department. So I've been on the lookout. I haven't seen any of those things yet, not even the molting cardinals. I've been watching to see if there are any bald birds in the neighborhood, but I haven't seen them yet. But what I have observed, especially around the house, is that there is an unusual number of rather busy squirrels. They're very focused on squirrel business, and they aren't taking the time to scold me when I have the audacity to work in the garden or the temerity to sit on the front porch, which is very unusual. They don't really like me out there, so they usually let me know what they think of me. So it's a little odd. But what the squirrels are signaling is what I think that a lot of pagans are feeling at this time of year. This urge to attend to your business, stay focused. Whatever it is you need to do, that's the only thing that exists. You need to get it done. The time for last minute preparations is upon us, so there's no time for dawdling. And preparation for winter on the material level is incredibly important, especially this year. It's going to be challenging over the next couple of years. I think that much is obvious to us by now. But preparing for winter is also a spiritual pursuit. When we find ourselves, especially not just in the winter of the world, but in the winter of the soul, we need resources to survive and thrive until we come out of that period of time. And I've gone through times like this before, this feeling of stagnation, unable to move forward, a sense of even being trapped. And it was every bit as frustrating as literal cabin fever. But what helped me get past those experiences is meditating on things I had already learned and making the effort to put them into practice more. So, feeling this urge, is it a sign that there's another winter of the soul coming for me? I mean, perhaps, maybe not immediately, but at some point it will become inevitable that it will take place. So, use the time now to take in information, get underneath the skin of concepts and practices, and learn to integrate it into my very being, because that might be the thing that I will need to rely on at some unknown future point. So there's something to be learned from everything in nature, even from the squirrels, and paying closer attention to even the very small things in my immediate environment. It can provide me with reminders of what I ought to be doing. And obviously this isn't some massive life-altering revelation, but why should every spiritual lesson have to be this big dramatic thing? I mean, that's not how things tend to work, at least not most of the time, certainly not on a daily basis. So I am continuing to keep my eyes peeled for what small lessons I can perceive. These are the ones I have noticed this week. We'll see what happens in the coming week, and I hope you'll be back for that. In the meantime, let me know what you think in the comments section below, or come see us on Gilded. There's a link in the description box to join us. Just click on it. It'll take you to our server called Blackbird's Brew, and you'd be very welcome there. But until then, that's it for now, and bye-bye.